Good afternoon, students. By now, we have already covered 3 units of our subject pertaining to the Companies Act, Sales of Goods Act, and the Company Law. The last unit is left, and which contains the Partnership Act and the Negotiable Instrument Act. First of all, today we'll talk about the Partnership Act. Now, by partnership, we basically mean an association or a combination of two or more persons who join together to conduct a particular business and to share profits amongst themselves. So, in the Partnership Act, we'll basically discuss about the Act, what are the provisions contained in the Act. Then we'll discuss about the formation of the partnership, the features and the essentials of the partnership, the what do we mean by the partner, the rights and duties of the partner, and lastly the dissolution of the partnership firm. Today we are going to talk about the introduction to the Act, the objectives of the Act, scope of the Act, features of the Act, then about the formation of the partnership, essential elements or feature of partnerships, and lastly the nature of partnership. Starting with the introduction, before actually coming on the partnership, I will discuss about 3 different modes of organizing business. So business can be organized either as sole proprietorship or partnership firm or company. So sole proprietorship means when one single person who is the owner as well as the manager, he starts the business, he also accrues or owns all the liabilities, and that person is not different from the business which he has formed. The second form of organizing a business is the partnership. So partnership is an association of two or more persons where these persons, which are called as partners, who come together for a particular business and for sharing the profits of the business amongst themselves. Even in partnership, the liability of the partners is unlimited, and the partners, they are not different from the partnership firm which they have created. Lastly, the company form of organization, which is completely different from the sole proprietorship as well as partnership. So in company also, two or more persons, they come together for conducting a business, but in this case, the company is a separate legal entity, and the owners of the company, they are separate or different from the company which they have created. And the members or the owners or the shareholders, they have limited liability usually. So this was about the 3 mode of organizing the business. Coming back to the partnership. So partnership is what? It is an association of two or more persons which are called as partners who come together for conducting a particular business and for sharing the profits of that business amongst themselves. Now, before a separate law was made on the partnership, all the rules and provisions regarding the partnership, they were contained in the Indian Contract Act only. So there was no separate law or act for the partnership solely, but all the provisions of partnership, they were contained in the ICA. But with increase in the number and the size of the partnership firms, increase in the complexity of the matters concerning the partnership, there was a need of the hour that the separate law or regulation should be made for the partnership. So on the recommendation of the Third Indian Law Commission, the first statutory recognition was given to the law of partnership. So initially, partnership rules, they were contained in Chapter 11 of the Indian Contract Act of 1872, in which sections 239 to 266 deal with the laws on the partnership. But in 1930, all the provisions relating to the partnership which were contained in the Indian Contract Act, they were repealed, and a separate act was started to form. So efforts started to develop a separate act on the partnership, and as a result of the same, a separate act which was called as the Indian Partnership Act of 1932 was passed, and which came into effect on October 1 of 1932. So with effect from 1932, all the partnership firms, they were regulated under the Indian Partnership Act of 1932. Now talking about the objectives of this act. So the Indian Partnership Act is basically framed on the lines of the English Partnership Act of 1890. So a lot of provisions and objectives of the Indian Partnership Act, they are similar to the English Partnership Act. So there are twofold objectives of this act. First, to define and amend the law relating to partnership as earlier contained in the Chapter 11 of the ICA. So all the provisions contained in the ICA regarding to partnership, they were seen, and some of those provisions were accepted, but some of those provisions were amended. So the basic purpose of this act was to accept some of the provisions of Chapter 11 of ICA and to amend certain provisions of the Chapter 11 of ICA and to make a new act called as Indian Partnership Act of 1932. Then to make the laws of partnership more adequate and effective. So with increase in the number and size of the partnership firms, increase in the modern industries and growth of trade in India, there was a need that the rules regarding the partnership firms, they should be made more transparent and more adequate and effective. So these were the fold purposes of the Partnership Act of 1932. Then talking about the scope of the act, that this what does it act includes and to what extent it is applicable. Basically, this act is applicable to the whole of India, including the state of Jammu and Kashmir. Then, the unrepealed provisions of the ICA shall apply to the partnership as long as they are inconsistent with the express provisions of the Partnership Act of 1932. So as I've told you that initially Chapter 11 of Indian Contract Act dealt with the partnership rules. But with the new Partnership Act, some of those provisions contained in the Chapter 11 were accepted, while some of those provisions were amended and new provisions were also added. So those provisions of Chapter 11 of ICA which were not repealed, that means which were not amended, so they were continued to be applicable to the partnership firms as long these are not inconsistent with the provisions, with the new provisions which are contained in the Partnership Act of 1932. So just to give you an example of this point, the rules relating to the offer, acceptance, consideration, fee, consent, legality of object, and etc., they're applicable to the contract of partnership equally. So because partnership is also a contract, so all the rules of the contract, they will also apply to the contract of the partnership. So those rules of the Indian Contract Act uh, which are not repealed in the Partnership Act, which were not amended in the Partnership Act of 1932, they will be continue to be applicable to the partnership firms. Then the minor's position is governed by the provisions of the Partnership Act, but not Indian Contract Act. So in Indian Contract Act also we have certain provisions relating to the minor, that a minor is incompetent to enter into the contract. But the provisions relating to minor, they are also given in the Partnership Act. So we will, while talking about the minor as a partner, we will see the conditions as contained in the Partnership Act and not as contained in the ICA. So as long as the provisions are contained in the Partnership Act, one would see that provisions. But if with respect to certain point the provision is not contained in the Partnership Act, then the reference can be made to the Indian Contract Act. Now talking about the features of the Partnership Act. So this section will basically contain that what all this act contains and what provisions are contained in this act. So as per Partnership Act of 1932, a partnership will be called as a contract between two or more persons. So since partnership firm is not separate from the partners, how partnership firm is created? It is created through a contract between the partners. So it is a result of the contract between the partners that a partnership firm is created. So the creation of the partnership firm is on the basis of the contract and not on the basis of the status of the partnership firm. So partnership is the result of the contract between two or more persons. And partnership is created to conduct any kind of business. Partners, they carry on the business for the greatest common advantage and not for the advantage of any particular partner. Partners have the right to take part in the business. Partners are entitled to interest for payment beyond the amount of capital. That is, if the partners contribute more than the capital, because every partner contributes some of the amount which is called as the capital. So if the partner contributes more than the capital which he was bound to bring to the business, then he has the right to get any kind of interest on that capital, because that will be considered as a loan given by the partner to the business and he will get the interest on that amount. Partners must indemnify the firm for the loss caused due to his negligence. So if any loss has been caused to the partnership firm, then partners, they are liable to indemnify that loss, that is to make good that loss. Property of the firm must be used for the purposes of the business only and not for the personal purposes of the partners. Partner is treated as the agent of the firm for the purposes of the business of the firm. So it is the duty of the because partnership firm cannot conduct business on its own So it must have partners. So partners, they conduct the business of the partnership firm as an agent. An act done by the partner on behalf of the firm shall bind the firm, because partners, they are the agent of the firm, so any act done by the agent will bind the principal. Liabilities of the partners are joint as well as several. So they are jointly as well as severally liable to pay for the debts of the partnership firm. A minor can be admitted to the benefits of partnership with the consent of all the partners. As we say that in the Indian Contract Act, a minor cannot enter into a contract. He is incompetent. But in partnership firm, a minor can be a partner, but only for the benefits of the partnership and not for the losses of the partnership. And also that he can be admitted as a partner only if the consent is given by all the other partners. Consent of all the partners is required for admitting a new partner. Partners may retire either with the consent of all the partners or by giving a notice expressing its intention to retire. Property of the deceased or the retired partner is not liable to be used for the obligations of the partnership firm which arise after his death or retirement. An outgoing partner, that is a partner who is leaving the partnership firm, may carry on any competing business with that of the old firm. So he can enter any other business or any other partnership firm which is in the competition of the old firm. A firm may be dissolved by agreement, or dissolve means the ending of the partnership firm. So it may be dissolved by an agreement or on the happening of certain contingency or by notice or by court. We will study this point in detail later on. And after dissolution, that means after ending or winding up of the partnership firm, the deficiencies, that means any kind of obligations of that firm, they will be paid first out of the profits, then out of the capital contributed by the partners, and even still deficiencies there, then that will be brought about by the partners in a proper ratio in which they were sharing profits initially. After dissolution, the partners of the dissolved firm, they are restrained from carrying on a similar business under that similar firm name. Okay, so it is not possible that once you dissolve a firm, then you can start the firm with the same name and with the same business. Application for the registration will be made before the registrar in a prescribed form and on the payment of the prescribed fee. It is compulsory for a company to get registered, but it is not compulsory for a partnership firm to get itself registered. So partnership firm can be registered as well as unregistered. So if the partners, they want to get their firm registered, they have to file a form along with the proper fee and provide certain details which are mentioned in the act. Then punishment with imprisonment for furnishing false information. So if any partner provides any false information as per the act, then that partner will be liable for some fine and as well as imprisonment. Public notice in case of retirement or expulsion of partner or dissolution or election. So if the partnership firm is registered, it has to make certain disclosures with regards to retirement of the partner or expulsion, or with regards to notice of the election for the partners or dissolution of the firm. And one thing must be kept in mind, that whenever I'm talking about the firm or the partnership, so firm basically means partnership firm. So by a firm, we can use the word firm as well as the partnership firm. Now we'll talk about the formation of partnership. That is the meaning of the partnership basically as per the Act. Under Section 4 of the Indian Partnership Act, partnership is the relation between persons who have agreed to share the profits of a business carried on by all or any one of them acting for all. So basically, partnership is when two or more persons who intend to carry on a common business form an agreement between them and decide to share the profits and losses of that business between them. Such relation between the persons is called as partnership, and the business is carried on the principle of mutual agency. So the persons who come together are called as partners, and the association of the persons is called as partnership firm. So partnership firm is not different from the partners. Partnership firm is just the group of the partners who combine to form the business. So the partners, they come together to conduct some business and to share the profits and losses. If nothing is mentioned about the sharing of the profits and losses, then they will be shared equally among the partners. But otherwise, the partners may also decide the ratio in which the profits and losses will be shared between them. And last line is written that the business is based on the principle of mutual agency. Mutual agency means the business can be carried out by one partner on behalf of the other partners, or by all the partners together. So even one partner can also conduct the business on the behalf of the other partners. So this is called as mutual agency. So mutual agency means if one partner does some act, it will bind all the other partners. So that is called as mutual agency. Now we'll talk about the essential elements of the partnership. The very first essential element of partnership is the existence of an agreement or a partnership deed. Now, I have told you earlier also that the partnership is created as a result of the contract or an agreement between the partners, that is, two or more persons. So, partnership is created through a contract between the partners and not by the way of the status of the partnership firm. Like company is a separate legal entity, but unlike company, partnership firm is not a separate legal entity. A partnership firm is what? It is the association of the two or more persons. So a partnership is created by the way of contract between two or more persons. So contract between the partners will help in creating the partnership firm. So such kind of contract or an agreement can be an express agreement or implied agreement. Express agreement means that agreement or a contract which is expressed in words, either spoken or written. So if the agreement of the partnership is properly written on a document, then that document will be called as a partnership deed. Or the agreement can also be made orally between the two or more parties. Then the agreement which is not expressed in words, either spoken or written, is called as an implied agreement, which can be formed through the conduct of the parties or the circumstances of the case. So basically, we need to understand that the partnership is formed as a result of the agreement or contract between two or more persons and not by the way of the status. Now, since I'm using the word agreement and contract interchangeably, in Partnership Act, we basically can use these two words interchangeably, but in Contract Act, these two words, they are different and hold different meaning. Second essential element is that the partnership is an association of two or more persons. So partnership is what? It is the combination or association of two or more competent persons. So the competency of persons has already been defined in the Indian Contract Act of 1872. We have already studied that the person who is minor and person of the unsound mind and person disqualified from law is incompetent to enter into the contract. So the same thing also applies here. So partnership is a association of two or more competent persons. And the maximum number of the persons who can be admitted as a partner in a registered firm are 50. So if the number of partners exceed 50, then there are some legal repercussions for the same. Now, who can be a partner of the firm? A partner can only be an individual. So another partnership firm cannot be a partner of the partnership firm. So partner can be an individual, or it can be a karta of the Hindu undivided family, or it can be a company also, because company is also a separate legal person. But a minor, there are certain provisions regarding the minor as a partner. A minor, although cannot be admitted as a partner, but he can be admitted as a partner of the firm if all the other partners, they give consent to it, and uh, he can be admitted as a partner only for the benefits of the partnership and not for the losses of the partnership. Okay. So partnership is what? It is an association of two or more competent persons. Competency, which we have already done in the Indian Contract Act, and the maximum number of the persons who can become a partners, they are 50. The partnership firm cannot employ more than 50 partners. And who can be a partner of the firm? An individual, then a karta of the Hindu undivided family, and the company. A partnership firm cannot become a partner in other partnership firm. And also regarding the minor, a minor also cannot be a partner of the partnership firm, but he can be admitted as a partner if all the members agree to the same, and he will be a partner only for the benefits and not for the losses. And lastly, a Hindu undivided family, it also cannot be a partner in the partnership firm, because HUF is just the association of persons and it doesn't have any separate legal entity other than its members. Third element is carrying on of a business. So why partnership is created? In order to carry on some business, which is usually mentioned in the partnership agreement. And the business is business could be any kind of business, and to share the profits of that business in between the partners. So there is no list of what kind of businesses a partnership firm can do. It can do any kind of lawful business. Then next essential element is sharing of the profits. So partnership firm is created to conduct a business and to share the profits and losses in between the partners. If nothing is written, the profits are usually shared in the equal ratio, but otherwise a ratio of the sharing of the profits can also be mentioned in the partnership deed. Then last essential element is the mutual agency. So by mutual agency means the business of the partnership can be carried on by all the partners together or by one of those partners on behalf of the others. So it basically means that if one partner commits some act, he will bind all the other partners with this act. So this is called as mutual agency. Now lastly, we'll talk about the nature or the features of partnership. So, from the meaning and essential elements, it is very easy to derive the features of the partnership or the characteristics of partnership. The very first feature is the partnership firm is not a separate legal entity. So, partnership firm means an association of partners. So, partnership firm is not different or not separate or distinct from the partners who have created it. So, it is not a separate legal entity. Partnership is nothing but partners put together under one name. So although partnership firm may have a separate name, okay, but that name having a separate name doesn't mean it has a separate legal entity. Partners and partnership firms, they are one as the same. So unlike company, partnership firm does not have a separate legal entity. It is just a group of partners who have entered into a partnership agreement and form the firm. Then second feature is that the partnership firm is identifiable from the partnership agreement. So in order to identify the firm, a separate name is given to the partnership firm from which it can be identified. But although it doesn't have any separate legal entity, but it can be identifiable from its name. Then third feature is firm's personality for tax purposes. Now for the purpose of the tax, partnership firm is considered as separate. Partnership firm is taxed separately and the partners are taxed separately. So firm will be taxed on the profits of the partnership firm, whereas the partners will be taxed on the profits which they will be getting from the firm. So firm's personality for the tax purposes will be different from that of the partners. For the purpose of the tax, partnership firm will be a separate legal entity and it will pay its tax separately from that of its partners. Last is partnership firm is not created by the status. So with this thing I'm talking repeatedly that a partnership firm is created as a result of the contract between the partners and not from the status of the partnership firm. So it simply means that a partnership arises because of the partnership agreement created between the partners and there can be no partnership when there is no agreement between the partners. We have done the introduction to the Partnership Act and the partnership. In the next lecture, we'll talk about the types of partners, the rights and the duties of the partners. Any doubts are welcome through WhatsApp or email.